Hi, it's Jamie with Jamie's Arts a la Cartes. Thank you very much for joining me. I have a fun project planned for us today. I hope this video inspires you to create something of your own. If you would, hit the like button and share the video with your friends. That helps me to grow this channel and to continue to bring you new projects. If you haven't subscribed yet, would you please consider subscribing? And if you have, thank you very much. Well, we have a lot to do, so let's get to it. Hi, it's Jamie with Jamie's Arts a la Cartes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am creating what we call a primitive little Christmas tree decoration. So it's just a little tree that we crochet and then use little wooden beads in between to give those little layers. I've got both square and round, two sizes of round wooden beads along with the square. Right? So I think we'll be able to create several different combinations. Uh, and it kind of depends on the size yarn you're using. So this one is using this huge thick yarn. These were two different regular 4-ply worsted yarn, like a red heart. But I also have these. It's a little bit thinner than this big one. So I'm going to try some different combinations and see what we can come up with. So I'm using different yarns. I've got the wooden beads, two different size hooks. So that's something else that impacts. So this I used for this one for these two. So it kind of makes it look a little different. Pliers as I'm tying knots to help me get the knots super tight. Just some regular twine from Dollar Tree, and that's what goes up through the different layers, ties a knot, and then threads those beads on there, and then that creates our hanger at the top. So I think they look pretty cute, right? We'll see how many combinations we can get, but this will be part of the community project that we are involved with each year. So I'm getting a head start. So there you go. All right. Shoo. Let me show you. Basically, we start with just a strip, right? And like I went over a little too far, so I'm going to make sure I do that a little better, like on this. So this is a 12-inch strip of crochet. This is a 10-inch. So that makes a variable also. So I am going to go ahead and I want to use this thread. Let's see if we can, my ball came apart. Let's see what we can do here. So basically you just start with a whole bunch of chains. So it kind of depends on what size little tree you want to create. But we're calling them our primitive trees. So you can use these as an ornament on a Christmas tree or to decorate a package. Or I was even thinking, as I was making these last two, they would make a cute little bunting, right? So hanging decoration. So there's lots and lots of options. So I have a E hook. That's the size of my hook here. Use whatever you have, because again, you're going to kind of make it, you know, how you want it to be, right? Customize it to what are you putting it on a package? Is it a big package? Is it a small package, right? Is it for a tree? You know, like I have a small tree for the hallway. Is it, you know, for a smaller tree, or is it for, you know, your main focal tree? So that could determine what size you want. All right, just a simple little chain, right? This is just a chain stitch, and I'm gonna do so we got 10. I think this was 12, so I want to do an 11, right? I think that was 12. So let's do, and it's a little bit thicker than this yarn, the one I'm using now. But it's variegated, so it has a kind of a pretty look to it. So it's going to be approximately 50 stitches. Again, it's going to determine what size needle you use, as well as what size weight of yarn you use, how many plies, how thick is your yarn. So we will just get a hunk done, and then we'll kind of look at where we're at. We'll put it on our table and measure it. I don't think it takes a whole lot of yarn to create one of these. I honestly don't know the exact length. But you could probably get several out of a skein. I'm using leftovers, right, out of my stash. So it's a great way to use up leftovers too. All right, so let's see where we're at. Here's our 10. All right, so we're at 11 right there. Perfect. How about that? All right, 11 inches. So then I'm gonna chain 3 more, because it's just a whole bunch of doubles now. So let's go ahead and set up for our double. There that is. So you're just going to wind over, come 1, 2, 3 down, and go into that stitch. Pull through once, pull through twice. And I'm going to put I'm going to put 2 in the same stitch on the very end. That sort of helps it to drop it. It sort of helps create this curvy piece right here. Right there. So just wind around, come down into that same stitch, pull through once, twice, and then there's the edge, right? That little tip, that end. And then, like every 10 stitches or so, I put another 2 in one stitch. That'll keep my little line loose. I'll show you what I mean. So we're just going to keep crocheting. Just like that. Pull it and do the same thing on this end. So it didn't have a lot of variation, but it had it there on that chain. So I'm going to actually try doing a chain in just red, and then go with the green after that. Let's see what that would look like. Red, white. I might add a nice little oomph to it. I'm just weaving it back and forth through the stitches. And after this one, I'll Pull it through. All right, so now this is what we have. See how they naturally want to curl? So this is what we have. So to take it from here to there, we're just going to weave it. All right, do a fold on it. And however, whatever distance, it'll be how many layers you get. And on each one, I would want to go just a little less. Right? And so if you get there and you like got 3 already and you're going 4, okay, I didn't make my first one long enough. So this is going to be a little bit longer, wider of a tree. So about maybe 3 inches. See what we get here. I'm just doing an accordion fold on top of it. Now that gave me that many right there. That might be okay, right? With the beads in between. So the beads won't really go over this, but sometimes you need that for your beads. So then I'm just going to cut off a hunk of my burlap twine here. I'm going to give myself maybe like 20 inches. And what I'll do is I'm going to start halfway on that very first one, and I'm going to attach either a square one or a large round one, just to sort of give it that little base. So here we go. Make sure it's not too far over. I want to go over one towards the end. And let's see. Let's go ahead and give it a square one this time. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the other side of this stitch right here. That way it gives me something to anchor around. Something like that. Alright, so come on this side. We're just going to give it a double knot. And this one I'm going to loop around twice just to help it lock into place. So this is where these come in handy. Alright, I'm going to come back. I'm going to cut off pretty close. Not slap up on the knot, but pretty close. Then I have a choice. So I want to go big beads in between. I haven't done that with one of those, so let's try that this time. And let's see what kind of look we get. If we get to the end, we don't like it, we can undo it. Kind of committed to that one because I've tied it off. So let's see. Maybe right in here. You saw how I judged that coming over, right? I did it kind of half and then went to my next level up. I think the big ones are going to be too big, but until we try it, we won't really know. So again, we're at a big old experiment. All right, so now to know where to put the twine, I'm going to create that little side edge, like over here. So I'm going to go here. I don't tie knots anywhere but at the end, at the two ends. Okay, let's go ahead and give us, and then if it starts to come apart, because it will, right? It's just twisted together, just twist it a little bit. It should go right in the bead. Now I got these beads from Amazon, but I'm pretty sure you can get them from Dollar Tree also. All right, I can see right now that my tree is not going to have a good shape. So before I go any further, I'm just going to pull those apart. And that's how you can experiment, right? Yeah, I got these at Dollar Tree, but I got the round ones from Amazon. I'm using that little cording as a little lasso for my beads. So now we'll kind of regroup. And now we'll let this separate our rows. Okay, right in there. I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing it. Again, if you get it somewhere you don't want it, you can take it apart, right? Because you're only tying it here and here. Let's see. Should have went one over. All right, here we go. Give it a twist because these holes are a little bit smaller. And there we go. So I'm going to go to the edge and pull it back just a little bit, right, to give it that angle, like for our Christmas tree. And then I'm just judging what stitch it should go in. Okay. Let's put our bead on here. And so that one needs a little bit of help. So that's kind of what I'm using this darning needle for. It's just to make sure that my hole will take this burlap. Dropped it. And twist it while you're putting it in. That helps it come out. All right, so now where do we want to be? Probably right in there. Okay, looking good. Let's get another bead. There we go. Here we are. This one looks like it's going to be kind of too tall. So, oh, I'm going to tear it out again, y'all. And I want it to come over a little bit. So that's a problem. I knew where to put these, but this one was a little bit longer, right? It was between those two. It's okay. This is the back, see the knot? So I'm going to tie this knot back here. And again, all right. And then, just to give the little finished look, I'm going to bring this way down and create a knot right here. I'm going to do this to get the smallest knot possible. And now I can cut this off pretty close. All right, there's that. There's the front. You can always twist that, right? If you want that to be the front, however you want it. And then just to do the very tip top, just coming along and putting one more knot up here, and then actually cutting. So you could leave it just like that, right? You could leave it just like that. Let's leave that. We'll look at them all at the end. And then basically you're just going to pull, just pull these, get them to lay the way you want them, and boom, shakalaka. So there we go. Small, medium, large. Oh, jumbo. So there we are. That's what we're going to be making today. Well, pull this up so you can see it. Phew. All right, I'm going to make a slew full of these backings and then put the beads on there. Like I'm going to do an assembly line, right? I always find it goes a little faster if you do it kind of like that. So I'm just going to use yarn from my stash. I'm going to try making another jumbo, but let me see what happens when you put the little beads in there. Kind of like the big bead on top, right? Kind of sets it off, tops it off. I'm not going to do that again. I think it's too long. I may cut that apart. I may leave it alone. We'll see. All right, let's just make some our backing strips here. Sweeping it along the top, right? Red to red. I'll do green to green. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Okay, there we have our row. let's see if that's going to work. Nope, so I want to take this one and move it back. So see how easy it is to adjust so that you can get just that right that you want. And this is where you'll make it your own, right? This project your own. So there. I'm going to come in again. Let's see if this is a good spot. All right. And we're going to come here, and then we're going to let it go over just a little bit. Right, get that little cap there. And actually, this is the front here. So then I will use a larger, I do like to put the larger wooden bead here at the top. Okay, so now I have it here. Then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and tie just a placeholder knot. So I want this to be kind of taut, so I'm pulling this to make this shrink up, right? And then I want to get my knot pretty close to the top there, right? So I have a knot right there. So then I'm going to take this, I'm going to create just a simple knot right there, right? But what I want to do is I want to hook it underneath that knot that I have next to the bead. So I want to get it between the knot and the bead. Why? It locks it into place. I'm going to give it a knot. You can use your pliers if you want. I'm going to cut off this pretty close. And then we have that. So as soon as we get down, we're going to, just like we did with the others, we're going to, let's go ahead and do this while we're working. So we're going to go ahead and create, we're going to lock in this knot right here. So I'm just putting glue on the different areas, right? Just to lock it into place. And then I'll cut that off, I'll tuck it underneath and glue it. While we're letting that dry, I want to put a knot here, right? Just a decorative knot. This really isn't going to do anything for the structure. This is just decorative. I want to make sure it goes all the way down to the bottom. So I want to work my knot all the way down. Burlap's a little ornery sometimes, so you just work with it till you get it all the way to the bottom. You gotta loosen it up to get it to move down a little bit, and that's okay, right? There we go, all the way down. See that? And then here, that makes that knot tight in place. And then just for that little extra touch, I come all the way up to the top, make sure they're even, and I'm just going to do a simple over wrap around knot. And I'm going to take it pretty close to the top, use my pliers to give it a little bit of a tug. Again, come inside there, and then to create my little tassel-y end, just going to cut off tiniest little top, right? Just the tiniest little piece right there. And there we have it, right? The hanger and everything. So now what I want to do is I want to cut this pretty short. Right, so take it down to about there. And then what I did on the other one, it seemed to work well. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add some glue right in here. And then I'm going to roll that knot inside and just tuck it. And there it is, just like that. And I'll let it sit here and dry for a little bit, but essentially it's done. So how about that for our primitive little Christmas trees? this is what the pattern called for, right? And then I was like, oh, I like the little red piping around the edge. So in the comments below, tell me, do you like it with or without that little edging? You could use white in there, right? You do all kinds of colors. So which one do you like best? With or without? Let me know in the comments. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, like it, share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, would you please consider subscribing? And well, until next time, happy crafting. Alright, I'll bring you in and I'll give you some close-ups. I think these turned out adorable.